Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1978's The Sister of Ursula. This is put out by Severin Films, right there, the almighty Severin Films. The Sister of Ursula. This is the back of the DVD case right here. And this is from 1978. We have some quotes on the front and back of this DVD here. Delightfully sleazy, one of the more unusual weapons in giallo cinema. Deliciously sordid sexploitation. This is truly a genre-bending, extremely sexploitative giallo film that does it differently, uniquely, and there is a massive uniqueness to the violence of this boundaryless giallo film. Now, this is a film that deals with two sisters and their stay at a hotel. And this hotel has a lot of different inhabitants. And there's also grounds around the hotel and different sculptures and different rooms, vacant areas around the hotel, around this lush, beautiful hotel. And it's within the different relationships of the individuals and the secrets and the lust and the sex and the sexual relationships. And the two sisters are at this hotel to discover more about their own family. And I'll leave it at that. And there is a bit of clairvoyance, a bit of PTSD and emotional turmoil, possible anxiety or depression or delusions, and heroin and drug smuggling and broken relationships. This is The Sister of Ursula. And also a film that deals with gender issues as well. So, and our own upbringings, our own families, our own parents. Let's get into The Sister of Ursula. First and foremost, the film was written and directed by Enzo Milioni. Written and directed. And I purchased this from Severin Films. They had a sale about probably 6 months ago, 5 months ago, and they've had this out on DVD. It looks like since 2008, so it's been out for quite some time. I don't know if it's going to go out of print yet, but the music. Let's get into the music of this film. The music in this film is very, very interesting because it's all formed off of one theme, of one song with lyrics, and that song with lyrics is then has many different instrumental variations of that theme throughout the entire 95 minutes of this film. And that song revolves around eyes, the eyes. And as you watch the film, you will uncover more about what the significance of the lyrics of the song have to do with the lives of the characters and of the story in this movie as a whole. And the music has a real strong 70s jazzy, exotic vibe to it, 70s kind of vocal, sultry, erotic vibe, a good deal of darkness and some dark cues, some dark sounds, some dark soundscapes, piano, some um, just some darkness in there as well. I would say real jazz, sleazy, dark, exotic, mysterious, all in here in that one central theme. When we look at the style of this film and also the locations, I gotta tell you, one of the most unbelievable locations. I mean, I say this all the time on this page, but we have all these Hollywood mainstream, millions and millions of dollars pumped into these films that are showing at mainstream theaters. They don't even have the tip of the iceberg on the locations of these films, these unknown films like The Sister of Ursula. I mean, this hotel, if it's a real hotel, it looks like it was. This hotel, the furniture, the architecture, it's right on like the beach, and it's beautiful. The mountains and all the architecture on top of the mountain. Um, the views, the patios, the decks, the windows, the piano bar that's outside, the restaurant that's outside, the lush beds and dressers. I mean, just unbelievable architecture and scenes. There are a couple of really awesome shots in this film. There's two shots, one at the beginning of the film and one that's mimicked at the end, with the opening of drapes and flooding of warm white sunlight, white through these windows and a character in the center. Also, there's an unbelievable shot taking in the view of this deck off the hotel and a boat in the water down below. And I don't know how they got this shot. Maybe they were on a ledge of sorts. But it was $1 million shot. I mean, just lush, beautiful. It could have been a painting, and it had to be timed out perfectly. Um, and it was moving up as it went on. Now, this film has really strong performances, and it has to. A very interesting title too. The Sister of Ursula. For some odd reason, the title, interpreted by me, meant that the character of Ursula would be a main character of the film. And as the movie was going on, I was thinking to myself, I said, why would I think that? It's the sister of Ursula. But the sister's name is not in the title. Ursula's name is. And so maybe subconsciously you think that that's the main character, but this is a film that will, as they say, keep you on the edge of your seat, because as we know with most giallos, there is such a complexity to the storyline and to the characters. This film in particular does kind of a revolutionary thing with giallo, because it's melding it with a very, very strong dose of sexuality. The strongest dose of sexuality that I've ever seen in a giallo film. I'm being honest about that. This film almost flirts. It almost moves into hardcore territory, or into harder territory. So it's really between softcore and hardcore. And it's as much a sexploitation film as it is a giallo film. And as it is, as a giallo and a sexploitation film, and an erotic film as well. It's a really, there's quite a bit of intensity in here and quite a bit of power in here. There is believable characters and excellent acting, and it's really their relationships that are unfolding, and things are being revealed to you, like in most giallo films. But in this one, there is definitely a uniqueness with the violence of this giallo film, which ties in to the sexploitation of this film. Now, when we look at this film sexually, we have, full nudity for men and women, but mostly women, and we have masturbation, hands, fingers, a very bizarre masturbation sequence involving a gold necklace. These are scenes that are not quick, they are longer in nature and very erotic and very sexually done and very interesting. We have a guy putting his face in a girl's ass and kind of almost tossing her out, almost licking all the way in. We have oral sex that seems just about like it could go into harder territory. Women of all different shapes and sizes, beautiful women, sexually attractive Italian women, I guess mostly in the film, and just a very strong dose of sexuality. And that sexuality ties into the storyline of this giallo, as it also ties in, as I said earlier, into gender issues with this film. This is an unknown giallo film. This is an unknown sexploitation film. If it wasn't for Severance Films, I would have never known about it. And there's this crop of Italian films from the 70s that flirted between softcore and hardcore. Now, the violence in this film is also tied into the sexuality of the film. And I don't want to give anything away, but it is extremely unique, and it's very sexual in the darkness and in the violence, and the architecture and the hallways and the different rooms are as much a character in this film as that repeated musical theme, as the sex and as the naked bodies are, and as the beds and the water outside and the wind. You hear the wind in this film too. There are profound moments of silence in this film as well, and I was actually quite spooked at the end of this film. There's an eeriness to this film. There is an eeriness in the characters of this film, in certain characters in particular. There is a level of addiction, of drug addiction in this film as well. And there is yeah, there's an eerie quality to this film as it unfolds, and a great, and at the same time a great eroticism to this film that I've never seen in a giallo film. All giallo films have a sense of eroticism, but this one was much more explicit in nature, and it was great. It worked unbelievably. This is a very original film, a very unique film, and a film that is at the hotel. And I love hotel films. There was a film that I reviewed in this YouTube page called Play Motel, which was also, I believe, an Italian type of giallo film that was very sexploitative as well. And this has a bit in common with that in terms of the explicitness. I think this one's a little bit more explicit, though, or much more explicit. And there's a mystery about having a movie at a hotel or in a hotel, and this film utilizes that. This is The Sister of Ursula. Here it is, folks, 1978, put out by Severin Films. Wow. There it is. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarre YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like The Sister of Ursula. Thank you, and good night.